miles an hour on that camera as they go down the back stretch.
Oh, there it is.
Hard into the...
You may be wondering how I got myself in this situation. Well, it all started when...
Making their way by this packed crowd at Talladega. Green flags in the air.
Very strange start.
Welcome everyone to the Incredicast podcast, podcast number 15, playoff race number 5. I'm here with Dr. Drrelientd. We're going to be talking about how Brad Keselowski drove his car into victory lane, and we're going to start with stage number 1. So Dr. Drrelientd, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Adatar. How are you doing today?
Doing great. You know, fun fact before we get into this, it is our first Ford win since our first podcast.
Yep,
And
which it should have come sooner, but
Yep.
you know,
We're just,
NASCAR's pocket keep expanding.
let's savor this moment.
Let's save the moment.
Because it might not
And it's
happen
not
again.
even because of our bias of anti-Toyota. It's because everyone and their great-grandfather named Jeff is tired of damn Toyotas. But this race, I will say, in all honesty, Ford win, Chevy win, Toyota win. This race was pretty good, to be honest.
It
We had a
was-
lot of action
Yeah.
in the first and third stage. But yeah, in stage 1, we saw something that we haven't seen in a little bit, actually. Last time I remember this really occurring was the 2016 Daytona 500, in which the Toyotas all pit together earlier in a strategy. We saw in stage 1 this past weekend that the Ford cars, they chose to all pit together early and to run a alternate way of the race.
Yeah, and they all pretty much stayed on the same strategy. Besides, I think Kevin Harvick lost some time to him, but you know,
Yeah.
I think Almirola did too. But everyone else, you know, they kind of stayed together, and they could really do what they had to, and which was get some stage points. Which stage points were pretty scarce. We all predicted that there would be some tight battles for some stage points, but really, only
They
two.
were, actually.
Only 2 people got some stage points.
Yeah,
that
which-
are in the playoffs. That is. So, which I mean, if you're not in the playoffs, what does stage points even mean to you? But
Confidence.
you could do it, Jamie Mack.
Which,
What are you talking
speaking
about?
of
I'm in the playoffs. Not for long.
speaking of Jamie Mack, times at these super speedways, certain times when you're coming to pit, it's not really easy coming to pit. As we saw with the one car of Jamie Mack, he was on the high line and tried to come down to pit road, and the 77 of Jones Boy just rammed him. Really surprised that the one spotter didn't talk to everyone who was like behind him or close to him, you know, there and say, hey.
Say, hey guys, let us to the bottom. You know, we're about to pit. No.
Yeah, this time around we're coming, but the 77 plowed into him. But yeah, and that would be a wreck that would it would also take with it Jones Boy in the 77, and also Jeffrey Earnhardt. He got a substantial amount of damage in that wreck. And
Which really sucks for him. He was having a good day. I don't really know where he was running. I'm giving him hope, guys.
But a quick shout out to the living legend of NASCAR, Rendon Gaughan, because he survived a lot of adversity.
Oh yeah.
He survived that wreck by just a little bit, and if you watch the NASCAR the radioactive episodes, he was ecstatic on the radio when he barely missed that. That was funny. But as we saw for the first time ever. Adatar, in your history of watching sport of NASCAR, have you ever seen a one-lap shootout before?
No, not necessarily. But that was an interesting call from them, and they didn't just say, "Okay, stage is over," and then just give it to whoever was first. But I think it was Paul Menard that brought out that caution, if I'm correct. Right?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I do remember Paul Menard was in the wall at some point.
Yes.
But it is interesting that we did have a one-lap shootout.
Yes.
And I'm really glad that they did that. So congratulations, NASCAR.
Thank you for doing something new that was not horribly horrific for once. But
yeah,
the two car, Brad Keselowski, he got the win. The stage win, I should say, in stage one, and in stage two, there really wasn't a lot that happened. Stage two, I would like to say that the main theme should be Penske really flexed their engines and their drag package. The Penske cars of the two, the 21 and the 22, were insanely quick. Stage 1, 2, and 3, but stage 2, I believe, really showed that they could be consistent.
Which is an interesting thing. Have you noticed how poorly the Toyota's speed was this week? They could get out in front, but if a Ford was there, the Ford was going to pass them.
They couldn't really lead well either.
Yeah, they just couldn't really stay in the top 10 or do anything, which is, it's Talladega, anybody can really win those things, and really, it doesn't really tell anything about the rest of the season except for engine speed, which maybe they was just using their weaker engines or something just to survive this week. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Could be, but Talladega is a power track. As we saw, all the Ford cars were up there, even the ones like the Roush cars per se that don't have as much downforce as your Penske cars and your Stewart-Haas cars. Stewart-Haas, excuse me. The Fords were up in force. So I tip my hat that I'm not wearing right now to Doug Yates and that whole entire Roush Yates engine program, because this week they were on it.
Oh yeah,
they were really on it.
Question is, though, will they be on it next week and the week after that? That's a whole new exciting thing to just wait out and watch.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
But as we talked about, the Ford dominance of Talladega, Ryan Blaney in the 21 car, he would win stage 2 with Brad Keselowski hot on his heels at the end of that stage.
Yeah.
And stage 3 was where the world ended. And Adatar, what were the first few things that happened in stage 3?
Well, first of all, the tube, his radio, at plate tracks, you are very dependent on your spotter. There is people on your inside, your outside, top, bottom, everywhere. It's just
Left, right, up, down, center, middle, in, out.
X, Y, Z, everywhere. And Brad, his radio just crapped out. He could hear some words from the spotter, and they couldn't hear him at all, and that was just like one of those, oh crap, what am I going to freaking do? But on down the road, we had a wreck with the 14, the 43, and the 47, which allowed him to pit and fix that damage to his radio. But getting into more depths with the 14 and his crash, what did Clint Boyer have to say about his crash?
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, he was very mad after the wreck, which going off of his season, really, I don't blame him. He's had a lot of issues that were not his fault. He's been in position to win races. He got second 2 weeks in a row, I believe, during the springtime at Richmond. I and at Bristol. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
I think it was Bristol and Sonoma, I think. I don't know.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Sonoma. So, yeah. So, he was... he's had his chances to be consistent, and then just wrecks that really weren't his fault, such as this one. I just wrecked him. His teammates have been doing pretty good. You know, Kurt Busch won the Daytona 500. Kevin Harvick is still in this, the playoffs. So, he's a dominant car. So yeah, his frustrations were made clearly and loudly, but
yeah, he went home.
yeah. But as we later on saw in Stage 3, it was the huge wreck that would change the face of the race. It would change who would be leading, who would be close, to the top. As we saw, whose fault was it? A lot of people are going to say Truex's fault.
Well, when you look at it, you could say it was both of their faults, the 78 and the 6, I believe, no, it was the 38 of David Reagan.
Yes.
And basically, I don't know exactly how it happened, but from what it looked like, looked like Truex kind of pushed him the wrong way, and he got loose. He came back, and then, yeah, we're wrecking.
Yeah, there was a hole on the high line for the 78 car to go into. It was actually there. So I don't fault Truex for seeing an open hole to get a run and take it 4 wide into the turn, even though 4 wide into the turn on the high line isn't the smartest move, but it's a racing incident, really. You can blame the 78, you can blame the 38, but at the end of the day, it was just 2 cars getting into a collision. But what were some cars that wrecked in that wreck?
Playoff drivers, mostly. You got the 18 of Kyle Busch, which had that bad race at Charlotte. He's going to need to do some extra things at Kansas to get himself in the next round. Got the 4 of Kevin Harvick. He's still okay in the playoffs as of now. 78, we already talked about him, but, he's already locked in. 20 of Matt Kenseth, which he was able to repair his car. The 17, that's a big one there. He needed to get that win at Talladega, essentially, to lock himself in to get into the next round. Did not happen. And your 7-time champion, Jimmy Johnson, which an interesting thing happened with the 48 and Jimmy Johnson. Dr. Drrelientd, if you want to tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically after the big wreck had occurred, NASCAR decided to throw out the red flag, as they very well should have. And so as the non-wrecked cars were traveling to turn 2, where the pace car came out and they were going to stop there on the track or the backstretch, a NASCAR official told the spotter for the 48. He said that they can work on the 48 until the red flag is officially declared and all the cars stop, at the exit of turn 2 and the back straight. And then, so Chad Knaus, he ordered everyone to hurry up and work on the car for the few seconds that they had as soon as the 48 got there. And then NASCAR decided to change history and change what they said, and they said, nope. No one said that. This is all a dream. You're in the twilight zone, and because you worked on your car during the red flag, you're parked for the rest of the day. And Chad Knaus and Jimmy himself, they were pretty hot under the collar, but I know I would be, because NASCAR being NASCAR, which means so inconsistent. That is a really, really stupid incident that should not have happened.
Which I think NASCAR should, they should be able to just say, okay, we messed up. We're not going to penalize the 48 for it because we messed up. But if it happens again and we don't say it, it's a penalty. So, but I don't think NASCAR will ever do that, unfortunately. But that ended up ending the 48's day, which what they was planning to do was just put 4 tires on it after they repaired it, do 1 lap, come back in anyway, just so they can get some extra points on the 18. So
yeah, but sadly for them, didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then after this wreck, we saw tons of little wrecks that occurred. Cautions breed cautions, as they say, and so right after that, we saw a wreck between the 6, the 21, and the 22. Trevor Bayne, he got loose on the bottom and came up into the 21 car, I believe, and that caused a whole wreck.
It also collected the 4 of Kevin Harvick and the 75 of Brennan Gaughan.
Yeah, who survived all day long, but not that time. And the 4 of Harvick, he was trying so hard to get out of the gas. They said during the broadcast that because there was no oil in the car, that when the RPMs got to a certain height, that the car would just automatically shut off. So if Harvick could manage to get out of the grass, he would have to slowly get to pit road, which he wouldn't have enough time or whatever. But sad for him. His car was still able to drive after the big wreck. So I commend Stuart Haas for fixing that.
Drove a wheel-and modified car, in fact.
He did. He was trying to turn it into an F1 car, make it like an open wheel car, but oh well. You can add the 4 of Kevin Harvick to the rest of the playoff drivers that would wreck out of the race.
And then another wreck happened after that. A lot of younger people in this one. You got the 19 of Daniel Suarez, the 24 of Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. Basically, Suarez went wide, 24 tried to go through the hole. 19 was like, oh, no, you're not. And then he kind of just crashed everybody. So.
Yeah, that was 122% Suarez's fault. That the 24 got a run, and he had his car was there. Okay, his car was there. I was looking for an analogy, but no. His car, he was there, and Suarez came down and caused that wreck, which the 42 was actually surprisingly quick in the end. But yeah, you can add that to the collection of wrecked cars, which Dale Jr. in his very last start at Talladega, a track that he's won at 6 times. He was surviving every single wreck that was happening. He was high, he was low, the wrecks were happening around him.
Yeah, that big wreck, he was like drifting through the grass.
He went sideways, but he saved it in the middle of the turn and was okay.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive by him. Really sucks that his splitter was on the ground, kind of dragging, couldn't really do anything. After that wreck with all the young guns, I guess.
Suarez, yeah, he plowed into the back of him, sadly.
Yeah, but, it happens. And plus, it's not really disappointing for Junior Nation. They got one more chance and, got to see him on the pole, got to see him go for the win, top 10. So, really cool. Yeah. Really cool for Junior Nation.
All day long he was up there, too, so.
Yeah.
Good for him. Another car that survived tons of adversity, it would be the 2 car, Brad Keselowski, and on the very last restart, after the 200th red flag that we had at Talladega, my goodness, red flags after red flags, he would start first, and he would start on the low line, and the 88 just could not push him because of the splitter issue, and And yeah, that was really it for Dale Jr.
Junior was really hoping for them to just crash before they got to the finish line, and he could just fly through. But
I think everyone at Talladega
yeah,
was really hoping for the 88 to push the 2 and then get out there and make a move, but sadly that splitter was really slowing him down. And then Ryan Newman and Denny Hamlin, they proved that you cannot work together with a Chevrolet and a Toyota, as Denny Hamlin, I don't even know what happened to Denny Hamlin, but
Denny Hamlin just kind of made the wrong moves, to be honest. He kind of made his move too soon on Newman, and kind of lost the momentum, and then Brad could just fly on past.
Those Ford cars were very strong, and Newman, he was too far out there. He was a sitting duck, anyways. But yeah, the 2 car Brad Keselowski would get the win. Good for him after winning stage 1 and just the whole entire issue of the radio.
Yeah. Perseverance is what it is. You go through the entire season, like, what's up with these Toyotas? How are they so much faster? And then you can do a race where you're so much faster than they are. And, they're just, the Toyotas are the ones saying, how can he do that? So, I guess it was
We've been
really
saying
cool
that since February.
Yeah. How in the world? But now the 78 and the 2 can just kind of rest at Kansas. They can take a nap if they want to.
Have a slow ride and take it easy.
One hand on the rest, one hand on the wheel.
Yeah, they easily can. But Kansas is going to be extremely interesting for the playoffs. Kyle Busch, a sure-in to get to Homestead. Everyone knew it was going to be the 78, the 18, and the 42. These guys were for sure going to go to Homestead. Kyle Busch, there's a chance that he may not make it. He is currently out of the top 8 cars that will advance. He's a few points back.
He is 7 points back from Jimmy Johnson. So I don't know. It's really.
And then right behind him by 1 point is his teammate Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, it's
who historically has been good at Kansas.
It's basically a 4-way battle on points, that is, for this playoffs. Basically, Stenhouse and McMurray need a win. Unless we get a 37-car pile up, there's really no hope for them unless they do some pit strategy, which they might.
Even then, though, for Jamie Mack, because he's 30, he's 29 points out of it, right? So
yeah.
Sad for these guys. But Blaney too.
Just 9 points above, so
yeah, he's 2 points ahead of Jimmy Johnson. So
which, to give you guys some history of everyone in those 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th at Kansas. Ryan Blaney, we saw him get the pole last time, and he ran pretty well, won a stage, led the most laps, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And unfortunately, a late race caution came out, and he lost that race to Martin Truex. So you might see that again out of Blaney. Jimmy Johnson, a 3-time Kansas winner. He is pretty good at mile and a half. Thing is, can they bring some speed? You saw at Charlotte, he messed up in the pit road. That is basically, don't do that. And really, you just want some stage points for him.
Yeah, which the 48, he was fast at Charlotte both times we went there this year. He won at Texas earlier this year, so
yeah.
At Dover also, so he's really quick at these mile and a halves. I expect him to advance.
Yeah. But Kyle Busch, though, Kansas is like he's either going to finish in the top 5 or he's going to finish top 15 or crash. Kansas isn't like some tracks for Kyle Busch. It's not like Bristol. It's not one that you can really count on. It's just something about Kansas he's either good at or he sucks. So
yeah,
for
yeah.
him, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For him, he's hoping that it's one of those that he's good at. But yeah, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say that yeah, with these dominant Toyota cars, that you can't ever count him out. You can't ever count the Truex and him out. It's Kansas. You know, you've said that. With this current year and this current theme of Toyota domination, it shouldn't be too easy for Kyle Busch to advance to the next round. I see the 48. I see the 21 doing good. However, I see him advancing. Maybe if the 24 wrecks or something happens to Denny Hamlin or Blaney or Jimmy, something happens to him. I see the 18 advancing.
Basically, Kyle Busch's worst fear in this race is the 78. Reason why: 78 wins, Kyle Busch finishes second, Jimmy Johnson at least finishes like 8th. He is in. Jimmy's in. So,
yeah.
So basically, it's going to be the 78 versus the 18 after all. So it's going to be crazy. But
instead of Kansas, choose one.
Another fear of Kyle Busch is the guy right behind him, Matt Kenseth. He's pretty good at Kansas.
Yeah.
He would have won in 2015, but Joey Logano spun him. So, who knows about this? Matt Kenseth does not have a win this season. He wants a win. Kansas is a good place to get the win. So,
yeah, and he's 1 point behind Kyle Busch.
Yeah, it is. Same equipment too. That's what makes it all interesting. Gibbs is like, who do we help more? But
exactly.
17-1. Pretty interesting. 17-1 need to win. The guys above just need to. I don't even know. They just beat each other basically.
Pretty much.
But moving on to Kansas, who are your picks for Kansas?
Well, Kansas, this coming weekend, my pick is going to be the 18 of Kyle Busch. I see him just having a fire under his rear end. He needs to advance, especially after everything that he's been through this year, of the highs and the lows and the arrogance and the cockiness. But he's had a great car. That team is great. He is the top contender to fight the 78, and so for him personally, he needs to win at Kansas to cement his position that he can fight the 78 wherever. So I'm gonna pick the 18 of Kyle Busch.
And as for me, he dominated there last year, did pretty good. Didn't get the win, though. I'm going to actually pick the 21, Ryan Blaney, to secure his spot in the round of 8. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So that is Kansas, Who knows who's going to go advance? We might see completely different people out because nobody is necessarily safe besides the 78 and the 2. Yeah. You could see the 42 spinning and he would be out. So,
yeah. So, who knows? This is our first time of actually seeing Kansas as the cutoff race. So, this will be pretty interesting.
Yep, it's just going to be one of those all bets are off for the Gibbs people because, Hamlin could wreck and be out. The 18 could wreck and be out. And the 20 could wreck and be out. So
yeah,
I do see at least one Gibbs car getting eliminated, no matter who it is. I just think there would be at least one.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
But I believe is all we have time for.
Yep. And yeah, just look out for the 21 and the 18. Can they lock themselves into the round of 8? Come back next week to find out who advances and who goes home. And we'll be talking about the next race after that, which we'll be making our picks for Martinsville. So pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
So everyone have a good week. Enjoy the race weekend. We'll see you then.
I survived.